Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week's episode of Reconnecting the Dots, brought to you by Abdurrahman. Once again, I want to empower and help you to become the best version of yourself through this podcast, and I hope it benefits you. So, take a listen to this week's episode and let me know what you think. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Reconnecting the Dots podcast with Abdurrahman. This is episode 6 of the first season of Self Improvement. And today I have with me on the show a wonderful and a young black Muslim lady who is actually wearing a whole lot of hats. Honestly, if I'm actually going to give a brief synopsis about her. She's really done a lot for herself, and she's also an inspiration to other people around her and our peers as well. Historically, she has a bachelor's degree in economics and finance from William Baptist University, and during her time, she's earned extensive athletic achievement as well, including 7 All-American awards and a 2019 national championship title. She has also sprouted a love for helping others build generational wealth and took those same values of discipline and focus to financial service industry. Her name is Jathia Isaac Thomas. She also currently works as a representative for a local mortgage firm, and she continues to help friends and family build their investment plans. And in her spare time, she likes to volunteer. And she had actually volunteered. She currently volunteers as a local wrestling club to give back to her community, and also she has opened her own photography business to express her passion for nature and travel as well. She manages all these responsibilities, which is something that actually um, she's going to be talking about in the course of this show and the podcast. Please let me welcome Jatia Isaac Thomas. Hi, Jatia. How are
Alaikum.
you? Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Hi, I'm
Uh,
doing well. How are you?
I'm very good, very good. Thank you for coming on the show, and it's really good to actually have you on the show. I'm so happy. It's been a very busy timing and all that to actually get you on the show. But hey, it's good to have you. So tell me, Jatia, I know you a lot. I know you have been a very wonderful and inspiration to a whole lot of people. And can you briefly tell us about you and how has your career journey been so far?
Sure, sure. And so thank you so much for the introduction. I appreciate it. And kind of touching on those important points on my journey through life so far. Like you said, I'm very young
Right.
and I have a lot of ways to go. So I'm very excited for what's to come. But I come from very humble backgrounds. My mom is from Nigeria. My dad is from New York. And so I got a very interesting look out on life growing up. And I mean, I can remember so many different instances with my family and watching my mother be an entrepreneur and my dad work to support everyone. I mean, just understanding how finances works in the household growing up was an important part of why I decided to jump into financial services. And so I have my degree in economics and finance, like you said, and I had an amazing time coming up through school as an athlete. Um, it's a little out there. It's a little out there. Most people say, but I was a women's wrestler. I love self-defense. I love being able to compete. In high school, I did so much. I can remember being on the dance team, captain of the
Mm,
step team, a part of the SAT club, and just social, just trying to learn what was out there and what I would fall in love with. And wrestling was for sure the one that stuck out to me the most.
sure.
It turned out to be the opportunity that earned me a scholarship to go to school and paid for most of my schooling all through the way. And so um, I went to Wayland Baptist University, a small school out in the middle of West Texas. However, the experience was Irreplaceable. And I'm sure you know,
Oh yeah,
just your own college experience and your own experience in life. College
absolutely.
is definitely a different vibe. And for me, it was somewhere where I got to express my athletic passions too. Um,
Oh, interesting.
yes, sir.
That's
And so, oh, go ahead.
no, go on, go on, go on. I was just trying to just see how interesting what you're saying is. So just cool.
Yeah, sure. And so, um, athletically at Wayland, I had the opportunity to compete on the team.
Okay.
Like you said, a seven-time All-American, 2019 WCWA national champion, and or I'm sorry, NAIA. And so, having those opportunities there to compete at a higher level, to train at the Olympic Training Center for a period of time, to meet people that are Olympics level athletes, to be in that circle of excellence, it was an exhilarating experience. It's something that I pull from and I learn from. I always say that I'm not the most, I try not to be the smartest or the most brilliant person in the room. I feel like the people I surround myself with should be motivating, should be inspiring, should be people that make me want to push myself. And so training at the Olympic Training Center and being in a room full of people who are mentally motivated to achieve their own goals was a huge part of my journey. Have
That's
you
so
ever
beautiful.
experienced something like that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I have, and honestly, I want to say that what you've just said right now is actually really very interesting and very impressive. Well, for me, when I was in college, I was just very. I mean, a lot of people call me a nerd because I was very focused minded on what purpose of why I was in college and why I've gone to school, because at every point in time I draw inspiration and motivation from right and left, of my family members. Because again, in my own family, I have a whole lot of engineers, I have doctors, and all that. And again,
Mm-hmm.
there was something for me when I was in college. I mean, for me growing up, I mean, my it was a long time ago. But again, those inspiration as of that time, for me,
Mm-hmm.
I was this person who was actually ready to challenge his worldview, and not just want to challenge my worldview at the time. I also want to. I had a plan to actually explore traveling as a means of education to actually gain knowledge, experience, expertise in different areas to actually help, strengthen my skill set and a whole lot of. I mean, again, as a young person, back in the days, I'm still
Mm-hmm.
young. I'm still young. Don't get me wrong, and it was a whole lot of things. Even though I didn't have the time for sports. I didn't really participate in sports activities, but I was actually part of a very large student-run organization, which is actually very popular in the world. Apparently, it's called ISEC. I was part of ISEC, so ISEC through ISEC,
Mm.
I was able to do a whole lot of things. Okay, so
Mm.
yeah, I mean, so for me, it was a whole lot of different things, honestly. And but trust me, of course, I had some motivation support system. I draw inspiration from right and left, which actually helped shape, my journey thus far. Again, again. So I haven't said all the things you've just said now. There's actually something that really struck me, and those are the things that really struck me on what you just said earlier. Number one is the foundation, of you know your family, where you're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
and you mentioned about drawing the most brilliant inspiration from your parent, especially your mom, who happens to
Mm-hmm.
be a very strong black woman who is an entrepreneur. She has all the energy and all that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
you know so tell me, how has this pathway, of course, which is you're looking at success, definitely, right? And how has
Mm-hmm.
this pathway, being a young black Muslim, how has it shaped your identity as a black Muslim woman in the United States of
Man,
America?
that's an amazing question. That's a strong question. watching my mom come up as an entrepreneur, as someone who's always pushing herself, who always has, multiple sources of income, who always makes sure that everybody's okay, regardless of what she does. And I mean, you met my mama. She is,
Oh
she is,
yes.
she is a strong, bold woman, and coming from that kind of background has made me in turn become a strong, bold woman, because I mean, that's my mother. Some of the things, qualities you have come from your parents. And so
Right.
as a Muslima, sometimes it's stereotypical for us to stay quiet, or for us to be more reserved, or only operate in a certain circle. And coming from a strong, bold mother, that's something in me that helped me build that confidence that I can be Black, I can be a woman, I can be proud, and I can be successful. And I don't have to choose between those qualities. And so, just coming from, the humble beginnings that I come from, and the home with just mental support, and being able to observe success in the making, is brought me to where I am now as a Muslim.
Hmm. Interesting. So tell me, would you say that this is actually, you know, um, a purpose which perhaps you have you have dreamt of, or at a point in time, did you ever feel like, at any point in time, did you ever feel like, dropping out of that journey to becoming successful as a young Muslimer, or what has been your challenging time, and
Oh yes.
how did you conquer this period? Because trust me, I know it's not easy. Number one, especially as a black woman,
Hmm.
a young black woman, looking forward to becoming an astonishing, a career person in a
Hmm.
respective portfolio and all that. It
Hmm.
also comes with its own different, challenges. I mean, sweet and bitter experience, pretty much to say. So tell me, what has been that, greatest challenging moment, and how were you able to, sail through? Can you share that with
Man.
me as well? Can you share that with the listeners as
Yes.
well?
Yes, sir. Um, and that's a great question, because I feel like in life, it you have ups and downs, it fluctuates. So you're not gonna have just one challenging moment. There are
Hmm.
gonna be a lot of things that are thrown at you left and right that may make you want to buckle. But I would have to say that my biggest, most challenging moment was when I had shoulder surgery. I tore my right labral. It
Wow.
was torn from the back all the way to the front. There was a slim string holding my arm in place, separating my bones. And
Wow.
so my arm had come out of the socket a few times when
Wow.
competing, but it was something that you just brush off and move on. You're going for something, you're pushing yourself, you're not exactly worried about taking care of your body. But there did come a point where I had to think about it, and it was like, whoa, I get that you want to be as successful as you possibly can, but if you don't get this taken care of, it's something that could potentially sacrifice your future,
Right. Right.
you know. And so deciding to go ahead and get surgery was hard for me. That was a challenge, that was hard. But once I got the surgery, um, and going through rehab, that process made me very, very hungry for success when I got back. And
Wow.
so I went through my freshman year, and I did an All American. And my sophomore year, where I believe I got, I don't even remember the place. I think I got fifth at nationals, and I All American in
Okay.
a few different events. And my junior year, where I got injured, and so I did not wrestle. I was out for the entire year. And then my senior year, coming from that fifth place to
Right.
national champion.
Right.
And so I had a gap. There was a gap there. There was
Hmm.
an entire year where I did not compete. And
Wow.
so how do you keep that mental strength? How do you keep that stamina? How do you not only stay motivated, but push yourself past the point to become better than you were when you left? And so those are some of the questions, those are some of the motivations that I had to have. And to push myself at that level, to come from not being on the mat, to not operating, to literally being at zero, to run to 100 is, I mean, I can't imagine anything more challenging than that.
Wow. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is really astonishing. So pretty much you you continue to push yourself regardless of whatever pain you feel. You continue to push yourself and to continue to train your mental resilience to focus it on the goal, the end goal for you. That is really
Hmm.
interesting. I mean, not a lot of young folks out there. I mean, a lot of people probably would have just given up or just thought, well, I can make this happen. And honestly, I don't blame them. It's not their fault or anything like that. But the truth is, like I always say something every day. And these are some of the things I always used to also motivate myself. Whether you're young,
Hmm.
you're old, honestly, we need some type of strength to actually carry on regardless of whatever anything we do. So, and I think I've been very very particular about this statement every now and then. Now, too, I always say that for you to actually accomplish that goal or that dream you want to achieve, it's all about being able to train your mind to serve you. And which is what you just said to me. I'm actually just putting it that you because you understand the need, and you know that for you to actually capture or to satisfy your need, you need to roar and you know consume yourself with that push and motivation to make it happen, which
Hmm.
is actually not easy. So I always say that train your mind to serve you. That is the most important thing, honestly. And again, so I haven't said all of this now. How do you then balance your career and then you know or and then being a Muslim at the same time? Because of course, what I'm just trying to say is, as a Muslim or as anyone who is probably a young black Muslim or anyone who's actually doing well in his or her career and all that,
Hmm.
there's one thing that actually makes us um, continue to exist as a human being, right? So
Hmm.
how do you balance your work life, your career life, and then
Hmm.
that thing, that creator, okay, that actually helps you to um, make a whole lot of things? Because I'm sure that all of these things, all of this success you have come to achieve thus far, um,
Hmm.
would you say it is because you pushed yourself, or I want you to speak to that, so at least maybe listeners out there can probably just have a different perspective as to it's not just about success alone, but it's all about being able to also put God first in everything you do.
Yes, yes, I'm blessed. I am blessed. Woo! I'm so happy you asked that question because personal development is something that I'm passionate about. I am blessed, and there are various things that I do, and lessons that I've gained throughout the years to allow me to have not only career success, but life success, to feel content, to feel happy.
Right,
And it's not something that's 100% constant, right? Life
right,
just doesn't go in a straight path. There's going to be twists and turns and ups and
absolutely,
downs, but there
absolutely.
are consistent practices that you can have to maintain a certain level. And those practices, man, it's making me so happy to even have the opportunity to be here and to be sharing this with you, because
Right.
these are things that have changed my life. Like I can remember the first moment I even started doing these things, and just the shift that it's had.
Mm.
And even now I'm still growing and I'm still learning, but I'm really excited. I'm really happy you asked me that question.
Right.
And so I really want the listeners here to focus, to kind of listen in, to hear me out when I speak about these things, because these are things that not only did they affect my life, but they've had a proven record. And I'm sure you can attest this. They've had a proven record of affecting other people's lives as well.
Right.
So if
That's right.
everybody could just listen to me here, and we'll go over a few different ways. And this may not be everything, but a few different ways you can begin your personal development journey. Um, Something that I personally had to pick up when competing and when going through things and going through different challenges and in college and outside of college is affirmations.
Mm.
Being able to sit down and to affirm to myself different things in my life. I remember even when I'm wrestling, even when I'm working out, right before every rep, I'm strong, I'm grateful, I'm powerful. It could be I'm blessed, I'm ready to start the day. Speaking positively, positive self-talk. And so affirmations, positive self-talk. Another thing that was monumental is visualization. And so that's
Mm.
when you close your eyes and you imagine and you envision the success you're looking for. So
Interesting.
you're slowing down. And these are things that, mashallah, these are things that are already ingrained in our religion, right?
Right.
Through
That's
prayer.
right.
And I'll jump to that in a little bit, but I want to make sure these basic concepts are understood, and then I'll tie it back to how that's already ingrained in
Right.
Islam.
Mm.
And so visualization, being able to close your eyes and already envision what you want to accomplish. So for me, that was the night before or a few nights before, consistently closing my eyes for 10, 15 minutes and seeing myself grab the leg, seeing myself pinning someone, seeing myself getting in those opportune positions, or when the moment arises, seeing myself shooting in like lightning, right?
Mm.
This could be for someone closing their eyes and seeing themselves walk into their first day at a job. If you're looking for a job, it could be closing your eyes and getting that yes from a potential employer. It could be closing your eyes and envisioning that new car that you want, understanding what it'll smell like when you first sit in it, what kind of seats
Right.
you want, the leather, how it will feel running under your hands. I mean, just things like just sitting back and visualizing. And imagination itself is something that a lot of us have gotten so far away from, but it's it's something that I'm so happy to have been blessed to have.
Right.
And so just those few things: affirmations, positive self-talk, visualization, and focusing on different qualities. And so whether that be discipline, you want to spend a week just focusing on discipline, or consistency, or
Consistency.
accountability, or I mean, you can go down the list, and just, man, I
I
there's so
know.
much that
I
there's
know.
so many
It's a
different ways.
hey. It's a whole lot. I know. Honestly,
It's
because
a lot,
I
but
know. I know.
so you do these too.
Envisioning. Yeah, I know. Honestly, it's a whole lot. I mean, like again, like so I just also want to just reiterate and reemphasize on something you mentioned. You talked about envisioning, envisioning yourself, being successful, and visualization, right? And
Hmm.
you also need to picture yourself in the reality of you being able to come and achieve all of those things you want to actualize. And see all of those things, and I believe that it's all about being able to have a dream
Mm.
and having your goals on how you want to accomplish those dreams, right?
Hmm.
So, um, so Jatia, tell me, what would you tell that young black woman out there who is struggling between, you know, a purpose, okay, and between our goals or the dreams she has, with respect to, you know, the exact person she want to become. So what advice, how would you advise, and what are the things, what advice, how would you advise that kind of, that, that young black woman out there who is struggling and, trying to make things happen for herself? And the
Mm-hmm.
reason I'm actually asking this question, I've had an opportunity to work with the the youth population before, and I
Mm-hmm.
know what the youth population go through. It's not really easy for them out there, honestly, and it is it is very inspiring when I see a young black woman or any young person, whether black, white, or anything, you know, doing something really, interesting and, astonishing, because this will really, inspire other people to actually do more, right? So I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to speak to that, young, female Muslim out there who is struggling, and how would you? I want you to speak to them as to advising them on how best they can actually, journey, in their career path to becoming successful.
Man, that's a great question. And so I want to make sure I understand you properly.
Right.
You're asking me, what would I tell my younger self, or what would I tell someone who is striving to start their journey of figuring out where they want to go, and who they want to be? What's the advice I have for them? Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's correct.
Um, Man, so this question is a deep one because there's so many people struggling with it, and I don't believe it's just the youth. I believe that there are people at all ages and stages of life that are asking themselves this question: who am I?
Hmm.
You know? And the advice I would have for someone who's in the position of figuring out their identity is asking themselves, what does the best version of themselves look like?
Look like.
If they were going to be the most awesomest, coolest, most amazing, most talented, most professional, if you were going to be the most that you could possibly be, possibly dare to be, what would that look like? What would your daily schedule look like? And once you understand how you want your daily schedule to be, the best version of you, your most happiest version, the version that makes you content, the version that makes you feel closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the version
Hmm.
that makes you happy to wake up in the morning, right?
Right.
What would that version of you be? What would it look like? What would that schedule look like? What would you want to do during the day? And once you have that most perfect version of you, then you can start to work backwards. Because
Right.
I feel like a lot of people, sometimes we get so busy with life that we miss the fact that there's an end goal, and it's not a what, it's not a material substance, it's an inner peace that
Right.
we're all striving for, right?
Absolutely.
And so taking it from the outside, and really understanding what's inside, and that's where spirituality, that's where prayer, that's where spending time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's where
Allah.
spending time with yourself comes in.
Right.
And so that would be the advice I have, is what does that look like, right? And that answer is going to be different for everyone.
Oh,
Some people may
yeah.
want to, some people may want to, anything. Some people may want to work in the office. Some people may be, well, I work better with my hands, I want to do that. Some people may be, well, my ideal day would be spending the first 3 hours with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some people
Right.
may, so then maybe they'll open up a mosque, or maybe they'll be an accountant or a lawyer, and maybe the other person will be a nurse, or I mean, it doesn't, to me, the job, how you add value to the people in the world around you doesn't really matter. What matters is how you feel when you do it, your inner peace.
Right.
And so that would be the advice that I have, and that, and to always keep Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala close. That's something that I've noticed, and I'm still young and I'm still learning and growing, but I've noticed that the closer and the stronger the bond I have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala,
Uh-huh.
the more confident and the more assured of myself I feel operating in the world, and that's contagious.
Awesome.
Energy is for sure contagious. So that would be the advice I have.
Awesome. Awesome. That's really great. Honestly, I was you just speak to my mind. Honestly, I mean, like every day. So I always think about this thing. So I mean, listeners out there, whether you're young, you're old, it doesn't matter. Anything and everything at all you want to do, always put God first. God matters first. He's first. He should be first in everything you do, and then every other thing you want to do comes secondary. And then you plan yourself, you set goals, you dream big. And even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do what is best in the ability I have given to you and leave the rest to me. So it means
Mm.
putting effort in everything you do, focus on the outcome. Don't worry about things you don't necessarily have control over, but rather focus on the things you have control over.
Mm.
So I mean, that was very very inspiring, and you really need it there. So again, because I know a lot of people have different things that bothers them, that's really frustrate them and all.
Mhm.
So I just wanted you to really talk about that, and so at least whoever, I mean there's so many people out there who might be going through different things, and
Mhm.
at least when they hear or listen to those few advices or statement, maybe perhaps, you never know, it will motivate or re-energize their mind to want to do better and become the better best version of themselves. So tell me, Jatia, why wrestling out of all those sporting activities, which I know you started back in college? Why wrestling?
Yeah. I think that would be best answered with um I think that would be best answered with what wrestling does for me.
Okay.
Wrestling to me, wrestling gives me a choice, right?
Okay.
Um I joined the team because I saw my older brother join the team. And at the
Okay.
time, I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna put all of it out there. At the time, I was fighting a lot. I would get in random fights and fist fights, like fist fights with people. Like I was fighting a lot. I'm sure my mom will tell you all the trouble I gave her
I know. Oh yeah, she
coming up.
does. She
I'm
told
sure
me.
she has stories, but I was fighting a lot. And so I saw wrestling as a way I could fight and not get in trouble. And that transformed into a way that I could learn to control myself and have control over my body. And once I felt like I had control of myself, and the things that I did, wrestling then gave me a choice. And that's
Right.
what it's crazy. That's what discipline is. Discipline is controlling yourself, being able to direct your your body, being able to direct your mind to go past those natural obstacles and distractions. And so literally wrestling gave me discipline, and through that discipline gave me freedom, it gave me
Hmm.
choice. And that's what self-defense does for me.
Right.
And that's what I want to do for other people. I want to give people a choice. And so that's why I chose
Nice.
financial services. That's why I became a financial advisor, because I want to allow everyone to have the opportunity to build generational wealth. That's why I sat down and I studied and I got the licenses that I have. That's why I learn about the real estate industry and what that does and how people can start to build those generational things, so that we're not starting over from scratch every generation. We have some things set up for us. And so I want to give people a choice, and that's something that I was blessed to have in my life, and that's something that I hope I have the opportunity to radiate to others.
That's beautiful. that is very beautiful there. Honestly, that is really, really beautiful. That is really, really beautiful. So,
Thank
tell me
you.
something. Tell me something. So when you tell me, you know, you just mentioned about you said something now. You said discipline gave you a choice, right?
Hmm.
And as a financial advisor, how have you been able to um advise or pretty much help those who actually, you know, are in need to actually you know, really acknowledge, or sorry, or maybe like, you know, acquire or helping them to build some knowledge and all that? How have you been able to do that? And like, when did you start that?
Yeah, so and this is another tidbit of advice I would give someone who's going through college, who's maybe at the later stages, is talk to your advisors, talk to your deans, talk to your chancellors, talk to the people that spend the most time with you on a professional level. Because I had an advisor who saw the potential in me. And I talked to him. I had a close relationship with my professor. I talked to him about, you know, some of my ideas, my professional ideas, what I wanted to be after college. And when we sat down and had that conversation, we got to narrow some things down. Your advisors, your professors after high school, they're there specifically to watch you succeed, to help
Right.
you get to wherever it is you want to be, right? They're not just there to give you homework and give you tests. They're there because they would like to impact people's lives. And I was blessed to have an advisor that impacted my life. And so I sat down with him, and we narrowed down the field to a financial analyst or a financial advisor. And the financial analyst would be more behind a desk. I
Okay.
wouldn't talk to as many people, but I would have the technical knowledge, right?
Right. Yeah.
Both ways I'd have some technical knowledge, but financial advisor means I can talk to people. And I'm
Right.
not sure if you've gathered so far, but I love talking to people.
That's good.
So,
That's really interesting. Honestly, I see you've been able to align your goals, your dream, you know, in into one box of, you know, what really makes you happy as uh as you know, as relates to your interest, you know, in a particular industry. And that's really good. That's really good. I mean, you've been able to align everything together, your dream, your passion, and at the same time you're also able to, you know, help people to make, you know, that choice and to help people build, you know, a generation of wealth, which is really good. That's really very interesting. And I really like that. If so have you so do you now have a real estate company, or what exactly? So do you help people to um um buy a house, or what exactly?
yes,
Just talk
yes.
briefly on
So
the.
I transitioned from financial advising into more of a mortgage space.
Okay.
I did that because as an advisor, I was working with people and I noticed that one of their biggest expenses was a mortgage.
Right.
And even me and my husband, I noticed that one of the next moves we want to make is to buy a house. And so just kind of seeing how at all levels of life, real estate is something that everybody deals with, right?
Right. Right.
Everybody wants to have a roof over their head, and
Absolutely.
everybody's willing to pay a pretty penny for a roof over their head.
So yeah,
So
I know.
that's something that when I become interested in something, and this is another powerful tip, is I learn, I read, I study, I research. I had to become a person who fell in love with learning. So you can ask, I mean, anyone who's close to me, I don't watch a lot of TV. I read a lot
A
of
lot.
books. I read a lot of books. I mean, I could name a dozen books off the top of my head that have
Right.
had monumental shifts in my life. But I know we don't have a whole lot of time.
I know. No, no. Honestly, I know where you get that from. You took that from your mom.
Yes.
Your mom reads a lot, and trust me, I remember. I mean, like, I have worked with your mom severally for many years. She's like a sister to me,
Mm,
and you know, she's also a very inspiring lady. And
Mhm.
I like to read as well. I love to read. I love doing research, and honestly, I can't count the number of times she's actually recommended so many books for me to read. So that
Oh
good.
yeah.
That's gonna be good. It's actually gonna be helpful to you and all that. So
Mhm.
honestly, thank you so much, Athea, for coming on this show. I really do appreciate you. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless the wisdom of you, bless the knowledge, and continue
Ameen.
to make you the coolest of your parents' eyes, and continue
Ameen.
to bless you and bless your iman, and continue to increase you in faith and in iman. Thank you so
Ameen.
much. And it was these are really encouraging words, and viewers out there, listeners out there, Jathia is a young black Muslim fan. As a matter of fact, she's married. Jathia, how old are you now again?
I'm 22.
What? Okay. Anyways,
Yes.
alhamdulillah, Jathia is 22. She's a financial advisor. Apparently, she's also transitioned into a real estate uh, um uh guru.
Mortgage
Okay,
industry.
mortgage administration. Thank you for that. Mortgage administration. Thank you so much, Athea, for coming on the show. And I
Thank
would
you.
love to have you back on the show for more episodes. Because again, like I told you, there's going to be a lot more episodes on these as well. Which perhaps I'm very sure I'm definitely going to bring you back on the show to actually discuss on more stuff, which will be inspirational to a lot of young black Muslima, and all that. Thank you so much, and I really do appreciate your time and attention.
Thank you. Thank
And
you so much for having me, Mashallah.
yeah,
I appreciate it.
you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay, thank you all listeners, and please follow us on Instagram, and you can leave a comment and share a comment on Reconnecting the Dots podcast at gmail.com. Thank you so much, Atia. It was wonderful and nice to have you again. All right.
You
You have a
too.
good one.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye bye.
Right. You have just listened to the Reconnecting the Dots podcast with your host, Abdurrahman. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Google Play. And thank you for listening, and see you all next week. Bye bye.